But that audio tape that NBC just started playing, ProPublica released in the last hour or so, it is heart-wrenching. It's children wailing in this detention center, in these cages, and that is going to move a lot of people.
Let's listen to that audio. And again, this is initially released by ProPublica. We got it from the immigration lawyer, the ACLU lawyer, but NBC News has not been able to verify it. Still, listen to this audio.
Bueno, aquí tenemos una orquesta.
These are children crying for their parents at a detention center. Children who have been separated from their parents, don't know where their parents are. Scared kids. If you ever heard a kid cry like that, you'd know where that comes from. That's fear. What is going on with the Republican Party? Last time the Republican Party was in power, this was something that they wouldn't do. Why now is it okay?
Because they're afraid of Donald Trump. They're afraid of one tweet from Donald Trump and it really hurting them getting reelected. It's that simple. We're still in primary season for a couple of more months, so it's going to be difficult for those Republicans to come out who are up for reelection in the House. But this is going to continue to be a problem. If we're at 20,000 children, like you said, by August, the stories are going to grow. And what's worse is I think that we're probably going to have some kind of real tragedy while these kids are being traumatized. If there's any type of tragedy, which just the odds unfortunately are, I think that that will lead to a radical change in policy. But that's about it.
Is the administration banking on Donald Trump's base being okay with this?
The administration's banking on the fact that they can talk to a certain group of people who are always going to be anti-immigrants, no matter what you say. That's all they're talking to, and that's what they're hoping to keep it up. And yes, they're muddling the waters.
I would also say this, Donald Trump ran on this, right? Yep. And so people voted for him knowing that there would be deportation forces. If you go back and look at the videotape of the third debate, Hillary Clinton was wearing white. That's how you know it was the third debate, red, white, and blue. And she says in that debate, there will be deportation forces. And she did not want to be in the business of ripping children away from their mothers. She literally says that verbatim. He's shaking his head as if she is making it all up. But now we're seeing exactly what we warned everyone about, and we were sort of shaking everyone like, wake up, we're going to be separating babies from their parents. Is that something you support? Don't vote for Donald Trump if you don't want to see that.
It wasn't just the third debate. The man announced he was running for president by saying that Mexico was sending rapists and criminals over the border. He basically said as much a moment ago, saying that there are very bad people coming and holding kids, even though they're MS-13 gang members. He talked about building a wall and keeping all of the others out. He wanted to institute a Muslim ban. This played with a lot of the Republican Party.
It did, and it played with the Republican Party, and we know the president is singularly focused on his base. He feels like they're the ones who got him here. He has delivered virtually every policy that this White House creates is delivered for that base. And this is a moment where, especially over the weekend, where it seemed like there might have been some bipartisan pressure to end this. We saw Laura Bush speak out, and her comments echoed by Michelle Obama today. We had Mitt Romney speak out. There are some Republicans who have said this should stop. This is not what we stand for. But all this administration has done today is double down in order. Nielsen, Sessions, Trump, and unless there's been some remarkable sea change in the last few hours, I think we'll see Nielsen again any minute step to that podium and do the same. It will be an extremely contentious briefing. That audio we were just listening to, they just played it. Some reporters had it, played it aloud in that briefing room a few minutes ago. Those reporters have all heard this audio. One has to assume those questions are going to be asked of Sarah Sanders and Secretary Nielsen.
I would like them to ask, though, they're characterizing all of these people as criminals. Are those babies that are crying, are they also criminals? Because that's what they're trying to.
They're going to say the parents coming across are criminals.
But you're punishing the children for the actions of the parents, and that is wrong. I don't think that that is moral and something that we should stand behind.
Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor, subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Beat the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.